The best part about sex is that it's a game everybody can play. And there are many ways to play that game. So when my friend Mary and I decided to go to New York City, I wanted to go to the Museum of Sex. I couldn't wait to see their gift shop. The first exhibit was about fetishes. There were the familiar whips and chains and pony girls, you know, those topless women that like to pull pony carts behind them. But there were aspects of sexual titillation that I had not contemplated before, like sex with clowns. Or sex with furries, which are people who like to get it on in great big animal costumes.
Yeah.
Okay. And infantilism, which is people who really get off on just being total, utter babies. So, Mary, are you learning anything? Oh, like totally. I mean, like who knew that fear would be like the source of a lot of fetishes? So like if you were a kid at a birthday party and you were scared by the clown, later on in life, that could be a turn on. Yeah, you know, personally, I'm wondering about those furries. I mean, like how do they actually make it happen in those great big suits? I want to know how often they clean them. Next, we go to the history of pornography. And we start watching these video banks of pornography from across the decades. Oh, you bad boy. Oh, you bad, bad boy. Yes, yes, yes. You know, I'm looking around and there's about 10 people here watching this. I'm like, Mary, don't you think it's a little strange to be watching pornography with a bunch of strangers? Nah, it's a museum. We move on to celebrity sex videos. Mary, I have to tell you, I am very disappointed in the Rob Lowe and Colin Farrell videos. I mean, they are clearly amateurish. I expect a little more professionalism from my celebrities. But finally, we come to my favorite part of the museum. Sex and the disabled. Mary, my people! They have a display about my people! Gee, Annie, maybe they'll have some new equipment, some tips, swings, something. But I look and nah, it's just pictures of a bunch of people with different disabilities naked. I've never seen a naked dwarf before, though. And that brings me back, because I remember when I first wound up in a wheelchair after a car accident in Spain, I was really scared because I didn't know anything about paralysis. I mean, I knew that I could be independent again because that was the whole point of rehabilitation. And I knew you couldn't move your legs, but I didn't know you couldn't feel. And I didn't know what would happen to your body when you lost control of those muscles. So I figured with these brand new body issues that my sex life was over. But they had a program for that in rehabilitation, and it was called Fuckorama. As Dr. Engler explained, sex is a very important part of life. And just because you have a disability now does not mean you cannot participate in that part of life. And therefore, today, we are going to watch many delightful films of people with disabilities making love. Great, crip porn. I was a little freaked out by this because, you know, I was only 18 and I'd only really just started having sex. And you know how it is when you just start having sex, you really don't know anything. And, you know, you gotta hope your partner knows something or is at least adventurous. So I didn't have a lot of confidence about my sexuality when I had the accident. And even after watching those films, I still did not believe that anybody would ever want to have sex with me again. Thank God for MJ. I'd been backpacking in Italy for a month before the accident, and I was in the Palermo train station when I walked by the first-class waiting room, and there was this tall, lanky, skinny guy with a great big backpack, and I knew that he did not belong in the first-class lounge. Hey, you speak English? He looked me up and down. Maybe. And that was the beginning of an intense one-month romance on the road. We had great adventures, like the Italian family that took us in for dinner and then showed us their wedding photos, or the time we needed a doctor and we didn't have any money and we didn't speak Italian, or the time that we eluded 3 Sicilian men who got us drunk on purpose to try and take advantage of me. But we were both on our own journeys, and so we eventually went our separate ways. And it was only a few days after we parted that I had the accident. And when MJ found out, he came to the States, and he took a job near to me to be with me while I went through rehab. On my first weekend home visit from the hospital, I took him to a swimming hole that we had talked about when we were in Europe together. And I said, just take that path through the woods, and it'll take you right to the swimming hole. You're coming with me, ABT. MJ, I can't get through those narrow woods in this wheelchair. You are coming with me. And with that, he threw me over his shoulder, and he carried me like the man he was, threw me over his shoulder, carried me through those woods, and laid me down by the swimming hole. And then he followed on top of me. ABT, you are still a beautiful and desirable woman, and this injury doesn't change anything. And to prove his point, he started kissing me, and I nearly cried. And under that canopy of trees and on the smooth summer grass, he put all my fears to rest, and he showed me there wasn't anything we couldn't do without a little ingenuity and humor. And that was the beginning of reclaiming my sexual identity. Like the exhibit in the Museum of Sex, there wasn't a lot of information at first, but it was a beginning. And now we are on the map. We are right up there with the clowns, the furries, and the pony girls.